Welcome to the 5th mission of the historical scripted campaign Steelbirds, covering the action of Focke-Wulfs 190 ground attackers during the Kuban battle in early 43. Our character did receive the punishment for his previous mistake of dropping some bombs too close to friendly troops, and been tasked of ferrying some aircraft from Kerch airfield to Anapa. Apparently, rookie pilots didn't really make a good impression and managed to crash some aircraft on landing in Kerch, and hence a more experienced pilot have been ordered from Anapa. Apparently the flight from Anapa to Kerch in U-52 was quite shaky. I'll put the description in below in the video so you can read it through. Layout standard, no modification, no bombs, so a clean airframe. That's interesting, because actually you would have the ETC attached to the plane, and you wouldn't gonna not remove it, but I guess it's not possible in the current way the game is done. For the A8 variant they have it, so you can put an ETC without equipping bombs, but that here doesn't work. But normally you would have the ETC installed already, basically on each plane, independent if you're actually carrying the bomb during the mission or not. It's fully armed, which is good, and you have 100% fuel. Now it's also locked, and then the question always comes to mind, so well, it's a 20-minute flight, why would you need 100% fuel, and why you need ammunition? But actually you're in a combat zone and nobody knows what's going to happen. So the usual procedure that all aircraft leave 100% fuel and fully armed. And even when you come from the mission, the first order of business is that all airplanes are refueled, are rearmed, because you never know what's going to happen next. Even if the planes are damaged and might not be fully airworthy, you refuel and rearm, just that you're ready for eventuality. Well, could be quite a boring ferry flight. Luckily not so long, and we have a chance to see the Kerch Straits, Taman, and see us approaching to Anapa from an unusual angle, this time coming from the west instead of the east. Okay, then let's jump into the mission.
Well, welcome to mission number 5, and we're now at Kerch airfield. A beautiful overfly by some Stukas. Bunch of Stukas positioned here. But we have a mission to do. Today is a ferry flight. We need to get those 3 brand new Focke-Wulfs 190 to Anapa. Yeah, you really can feel the difference taking off without the bomb load. That's the port area of Kerch, and you can see some barges apparently departing toward Taman Peninsula, which is obviously the other side of the strait here, where the Kuban bridgehead was located. Some transport planes taking off down there. turn our course toward Taman. Another train, nicely done. So obviously Kerch was the main logistic hubs to supply the German forces on the other side of the straits. The main and most efficient way to transport stuff over land was obviously train, and the Kuban bridgehead was cut off from the main network. So the only way was to transport goods over the straits. And actually there was less known airlift operations which occurred in January and February and March 43, where effectively the Germans have been supplying their retreating troops, primarily the 17th Army. As I outlined in previous videos, these forces retreated from North Caucasus as the Stalingrad front collapsed. And, you know, obviously the troops need supplies. And the only way to supply them was to do it over the straits. The issue is that during the cold winters, usually in January, the straits actually freeze up. So vessel transport, like by the barges we see down there, was actually not available. So the majority of the supplies, on the good days almost 500 tons per day, were actually managed by Luftwaffe. From base in Crimea, Ukraine, but also here from the base in Kerch. So the transport planes would fly from the Kerch airfields to this airfield here in Taman, and or to Anapa, where our unit is based, and then the supplies would be distributed to the troops. And this airlift was actually successful, because the troops actually received sufficient supplies, ammunition, provisions, and the non-essential personnel and the wounded were evacuated efficiently. And that was one of the reasons why Germans were able to build up an efficient and effective defense line, the Blue Line, and stop the Soviet advance, which resulted in stalemate and the fighting which actually is occurring now, and which is depicted in this historical campaign. The main reasons, you know, if you read different sources, why this airlift, the Kuban airlift, succeeded where the Stalingrad airlift has failed, is basically being drawn to the factors of better organization. Oh, something else is crossing our path there again. Maybe some German bombers. A better organization, obviously experience learned from Stalingrad airlift, and you know, less opposition from the Soviet air forces. Obviously on Stalingrad you had the bases very closed in, you know, German troops were really surrounded, so the Soviets were much better in a position to intercept the incoming transporters. Here, you know, the air bases of the Soviet Air Force were more farther out, and the Germans were able to, you know, protect the transport in a better fashion. So, you know, all the U-52s were seen flying out there. It's very historical. There was a quite healthy level of traffic between Anapa and Taman and the Kerch airfields. Yeah, you see the other transport down there, also U-52 transporting something. Some contacts out there, can't ID them, but they're also flying east, so probably friendlies. Again, you see a quite compressed size of the whole theater. You know, it's what, a 15 minutes flight between Kerch and Anapa. You know, we're almost halfway through. Yeah, and out there you see additional, you know, transport convoys. So there was quite a healthy maritime traffic as soon as the straits open up between Anapa and Taman and Kerch to make sure that the troops are sufficiently supplied. Black Sea Fleet on the Soviet side was not really capable of interdicting it, you know, especially with the strong air force present on the German side. Plus Germans had some navy assets here, primarily torpedo boats, which were quite effective. and I think Romanians also threw something into the lot. Yes, I see there are some fighters over those transport. It's probably the 4 109s which launched from Taman as we were approaching. So they're providing the cover for those ships. Most of Black Sea fleet actions were during the night. There had been some shelling of Anapa by some destroyers, but they never committed big assets because, you know, most of the larger surface ships were actually destroyed and damaged during the campaigns of 41 and 42, mostly by Luftwaffe. And, you know, as you've seen, there was, you know, sufficient Luftwaffe assets in the area to make any daytime naval operations quite dangerous for Black Sea Fleet. Okay, these are their 109s turning on something. Let's check that out. Yeah, this actually looks like Il-2s. Oh, enemies. Well, let's light them up. Okay, hit the wing assembly as the tail assembly is going down. Okay, the flak probably from a ship's opening up. Ah, it was a good add-on. Let's figure out if my guys can help me out here. Do have gunners, so I need to watch out. Because they're going after the ships. Yeah, there was a hit by MG from a gunner. Okay, they're diving on the ships, probably dropping... Oh, here we go, there's some other fighters in the area, please feel free to help. I hit him before he drops his bombs. Ship 1 is burning. They miss him on the others. Yeah, there is a reason the German pilots nicknamed Il-2's Betonflugzeug. Basically a plane made of concrete. There have been a lot of frustrating scenes of, you know, German pilots not able to down these planes because obviously of the high degree of survivability and armor protection. Yeah, now I get down, I only see one flying. Let's get to that guy. I didn't see Focke-Wulfs shooting at anything. Did give them an order, but I guess the unknown IE quirks play their little games. Ah, interesting. Not all of them had gunners. There seems to be a mixed types of the earliers and one with already got gunner equipped. Okay, he's retreating. Not sure if we're gonna make it. We'll spot the ships. One is burning. Two seem to be getting away. Still flying. I could finish him off. I'm checking if the others, the Il-2s, are still there. I see 109. Splash. Okay, that was an interesting intermezzo. Yeah, so you see by the messages there are different modifications for Il-2s, which would be very historical. You know, they were never uniformed units, usually mixed up with different types, with and without field modifications, with and without the rear gunners. Sometimes the units which already had rear gunners would use, you know, a piece of a broomstick on the back of the planes which did not have a rear gunner to discourage Luftwaffe pilots in attacking them from there. And also the fact that they were operating without the fighter cover was not so atypical. It has been happening obviously much less in 42 and 43 compared to 41, but sometimes even if the Il-2s got fighter cover allocated, they might not have caught up with them, or some communication issues, but also the distance, right? I mean, the Soviet fighters did not have a very large endurance radius, so, you know, it's probably already operating on the limit of the range, and you could have Il-2 sorties, you know, flying out there and with an order to attack naval assets, transport barges in the Black Sea without escort. Okay, judging by the shadows, I should have my friends with me, but somehow don't see them. I do have some holes in my wings, so a ferry flight of new 190s didn't work as planned, but at least I got a couple of Il-2s below my belt. I'm too fast for a direct approach. I'll do a Platzrunde. Ah, here we go. This one found me. I'll do also the AI thing and turn on the lights. Yay. Some more 109s launching. Probably can slot ourselves behind those U-52s. But yeah, you can see the supply area here. Some trucks. Some ships. As far as I recall, these flat-looking ships were actually commandeered Romanian river vessels. Apparently you can use them quite well in low seas here in the strait. Apparently there's some action, 109s again. But I think we had enough action for today. Plus, I did run out of the cannon ammunition. All lamps on green. And let's flare it out. Here we go. End of mission 5. Was to be a boring ferry flight. Did provide some interesting air-to-air action. So I hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to your feedback and comments. Please like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more content. And we see each other during the next mission. Goodbye, guys.